Hey guys, Wes Dove here from Dove Development Consulting with Rusty Messner and Scott Price with War Paints, and just super excited. Cindy just spent some time with you guys chatting through, and I asked to get in front of the camera a little bit and chat about one specific thing. So guys, I've been very, very blessed, and Cindy and I both, but most specifically, when I was still in a hiring role, I worked very closely with Virginia Employment Commission's Veteran Services, where I was able to hire a lot of veterans. But what I saw, and not just with any one company, I've seen a number of organizations struggle to really create a culture that a veteran who's really been tasked in their career in the military service with how do we charge, how do we grow, how do we make a difference, how do we do all these things, to come into an organization that too many of them, not a knock to them, it's just what it is. The culture is keep your head down and do status quo and let's get the product out and not charge the finish line. What I've seen you guys do is make a very conscious effort to providing an outlet. So would you guys speak to that a little bit? Maybe I'll ask a follow-up question or two around that idea.
Sure.
I think one of the greatest gifts an employer can give to a veteran specifically, and this probably goes for all of society in general, but is a sense of purpose. You know, people join the military to be part of a team, to be empowered, and to go out and serve something greater than themselves. So if they can find something similar in the workforce, they're going to be one of the greatest assets you'll ever have. But I don't think a lot of times we do that necessarily. It is exactly as you're stating. It's like, hey, you are coming to us now, you're going to play by our rules and you're just going to go get it done, which is great and everybody should. But we also need to recognize that these people can make things happen. Mm-hmm. They've been trained to do that for you. So give them that empowered left and right's limits and say, hey, go forth and do great things.
Yeah, you're looking at the most well-built machine of all times. You're looking at people that can come in and do exactly what's expected of them to a T. You know, so the downside is this lack of individuality that is we find reflective with veterans transitioning back into the civilian workforce. Essentially, War Paints, or this outlet of War Paints, is saying, hey, here's a way that you can practice, rediscover, reinvent yourself, reacclimate yourself with your individuality to be more effective in the workplace. Because once they figure out a better understanding who they are now after transition, they can better serve their workforce and be happier and have much more loyalty to that new system and understand their role and their place in it, and offer so much more to it than just the flatline productivity. So these outlets are tremendous amounts of marrying with their work opportunities.
And Scott, you and I have a mutual friend with the Veteran Services with the VEC, and they've just done so much for us. And I try to wave that flag every chance I get. And I just see what you guys do is such a cool transition to help those organizations, especially locally, but even at a distance too, give that outlet, but also with the civilian world, the private sector employers, to take such advantage of what a phenomenal resource we have with separating service members. Because to your point, there's just so much untapped potential that we can now take advantage of, and it's just neat to see. So won't hold you long, but anything else you guys want to share along those thoughts and how that partnership and how that support mechanism really goes hand in hand?
Yeah, you know, as a measure to civilians in the workforce that are sharing that space with veterans, don't feel you need to walk on eggshells around veterans. We want to be engaged. We want you to help evoke our personality out. We have a personality too that we want to share with you all. We want to hear about yours and intermix those experiences. So it should never be this dance of insecurities, this high school dance. Should be come up and let's start a conversation, and we can learn a lot from each other.
So Cindy asked you guys about leadership. Now, one of the things that I've heard for years and years and years is the militaristic style of leadership, because I said so, is how often it is. Now, here's what I'll tell you. Some of my most cherished mentors in my life have been military service members, and I've never seen that. It's a very, very true, authentic, service-oriented leadership, where, quite honestly, most of the folks that I've seen, good people, grow up in an organization and got good at doing, therefore they get promoted. That's more of that carrot and stick, management, supervisory, militaristic style. Speak to that real quick, and then I'll leave you alone with it.
I think you're right. Everybody does have this expectation that there's going to be this like drill sergeant mentality, and I've run into that a lot too. Whereas I I value the fact that I can go through most of my life, and most people never know I was in the military unless it specifically comes up. But I think good leaders know how to, they have many tools in their toolkit, and they know when to apply which particular leadership style. And that authoritarian style has its place in time, but most of the time in the civilian world, it's not necessary to be effective, but it's there if it's needed.
And to add to what Scott is saying too, I think there's a distinctive shortfall of military mindset, and that is that it's extremely hierarchical. You know, a leadership should be inspired, and you know that's how you get people on board with you. So just because you have rank in a particular military, yeah, it's going to get the job done in the military mindset. In the workforce, in civilian, you want to be inspired by your leadership, and I think that, hitting to our last point, that could be the asset when we unlock the individuality behind these veterans.
100% agree. And that's when I was in that hiring role, I would look at veterans and know there was this intangible that they brought to the table. And quite honestly, the term intangibles may be even wrong, right? Because you can absolutely measure it. You can actually absolutely see where it impacts profitability, where it impacts productivity, where it even impacts retention and engagement, and hits that bottom line. So it truly is, if you know what to measure, something that's very tangible. And I knew what I could count on. Was it always perfect? Absolutely not, but we knew what was there. And I've learned recently, Cindy and I got to contribute a chapter in a book on effective workplace communication. It's called Discover Your Team's Potential, that the term soft skills was really something that started in the military maybe 100 years ago. And it was how to keep people from dying on the battlefield. They knew the technical, but it was their measurement for, let's keep people alive. Let's make sure we're leading people in the right way. And gosh, in society, especially in the civilian world, we've maybe brushed that aside far too much and put far too much weight on technical. So guys, I really appreciate what you guys do and just love getting to know you and appreciate your friendship so very much. So anything else?
Likewise.
Thank you again,
Thank
Wes.
you, Wes.
Cindy, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.